How's it going, everyone? It's GadgetsBoy, and this is the Cowboybike 3. Now, this is my favorite bike, full stop, right now, that I've been using for a long time. Probably about 2-3 months, if not longer. I can't even remember. I haven't kept track of how long I've had it. But this bike is actually fantastic in the sense of design, its functionality, and if you're like me, you care about the environment, this is actually something that's a really good investment for going forward. Basically, it's one of those bikes that stands out in a subtle sense, in the sense that if you ride it out and about like I have, most people stop me to ask me what bike it is and where can they get it from and what it actually does and how much it is. And it's not cheap, I will tell you, but I think the price is worth it when you calculate what you get in a return over a long period of time. Now, I've been interested in getting one of these for a long time, including the previous generation Cowboybike 2, but this one has had loads of improvements, loads of upgrades that makes it even much more better for riding every day for the commuters out there. Starting with the design, it's, as I said before, it's very subtle. I love the matte black finishing. I'm looking on that side because the bike is actually parked up there. And what you've got is this minimalist look. The logo is not too loud on there. You've got battery indicator lights on the frame itself. Now, this frame is quite big. So for my height, I'm about 5'11". So if you're my height, you'd be comfortable riding this with no problems at all. It's quite upright, so you get a really good view of the roads that you're riding on as well. But what I've noticed is if you are kind of short, if you're a short person, maybe below 5'5", you might struggle to hop on and off this bike every day for everyday use. Now, this weighs just under 17 kilograms, of which 2.4 kilograms of that is the battery itself. And the battery is locked in place as well, because I believe battery is actually one of the most things that gets robbed or stolen on electric bikes when they're parked up on the street side. Obviously, if you're going to be parking something like this as well, you need to invest in a really good lock, which I include a link to the lock that I use as well. Very subtle lock, bike lock as well, that even turns into a belt, so you can put it around your waist when you're not using it. What I like about this is as well is the weight. Again, going back to that weight of it, it's easy to pop on your shoulder. And if you're going to be going up the stairs, for example, catching the London Underground and you want to get on the train in between journeys, you can do so as well. Although the weight is heavily more weighted on the back. So if you're going to balance it on your shoulder, you have to bear that in mind and make sure that you're not trying to pick it up from the front first. Maybe pick it up from the side, the back area of the bike, so it's nicely balanced on your shoulder. As I said before, the battery is locked in place with a key that comes. You get 2 keys in there, so you can keep one safe somewhere else in case you lose the main one that you're using. Elsewhere, you get carbon belts, so Gates carbon belt. So this is really slick. I love the fact that they've used this because with this, there's no slipping, there's no flickering of dirt all over your jeans or whatever. If you're commuting to work, for example, you don't want to get dirty before you get to work. So this helps in that sense as well. It also means less maintenance as well. So with a chain, it means things can become broken, they can come loose, they can slip off and all that kind of stuff. So you end up spending more time at a bike shop trying to fix your bike instead of actually enjoying riding your bike everywhere you need to go. In terms of the braking system, you get hydraulic brake systems, which are really good. I've found out that they're really good so many times by just accidentally pressing them too sharply and you feel the bike nearly lifting off the floor. So do be mindful of that if you're looking to get one of these. They're very good, very safe as well. The tyres are anti-puncture as well, so again, extra safety. Again, I think Cowboy have thought about safety a lot on this bike more than anything else. On the back, you notice the 250 watt power, the hub, the motor that drives it, it's there as well. And the power itself is at 360 in terms of battery. You get 360 kilowatt hour battery, which should last you about 43 miles. I've come to realize it lasts forever for me because my commutes are quite short, so I don't have to keep charging it all the time. But if I do need to charge it, it takes 3.5 hours to fully charge the battery up, but you can just charge it up at home whilst you're not riding it or anything like that. What would have been nice is to be able to charge this using a battery pack. If you have one of those heavy duty battery pack, it'd be nice to top it up on the go, but it doesn't support that. So you'd have to charge it at a full charging point if you need to charge it. By default, you don't get a kickstand with this. You have to buy that as an extra. This one I've got, they kindly supplied me with mud guards on there as well, which is very useful. It adds extra 1 kilograms to the whole weight of the bike, which is not a lot, but having that mud guard means, again, I can stay clean when I'm riding this bike, especially in the wet weather like the one we have here in London. In terms of speed, you're looking at around 28 kilometers per hour, which I think is a European capped functionality. And I think the previous edition had this off-road mode as well, which meant it went faster, but that's gone now, unfortunately. But this speed is more than enough for what you need to commute every now and then, wherever you need to ride it to. I also like that the pedal assist is very quiet as well, something that I've noticed compared to other electric bikes that I've used in the past. It just means that when I'm riding out about, you don't get that annoying zzz, that electric sound that you get on electric bikes, so it doesn't make that extra noise at all. In fact, I think this bike is like the Tesla of electric bikes. The design overall is very slick, very minimalist. I love the matte black finishing. One thing that I would like to change on there as well, a couple of things actually, is the logo on the front. It would be nice to make that the power on and off, manual power on and off button on the bike itself. Maybe that's something that they can add in the next iteration of the Cowboybike 3. I also wish that they'd introduce some sort of default way to mount your phone onto the bike, but there are recommended phone mount system that you can actually buy for the bike. I'll leave a link to that as well in the description area, because with this it means the app, you can actually use it whilst riding your bike for the mapping system, which I'll talk about more just in a second as well. So the Cowboybike 3 comes with an app that you need to download in order to pair it up and operate certain things on the bike. So things like your theft notification, your mapping system, for example, locking it, unlocking it, and even the lighting system as well. One thing I forgot to mention as well is on delivery as well, it comes in a big box, but it's already more or less already assembled for you. You get some Allen keys in a box that you use to tighten things up and make sure that everything's in the right positions and all that kind of stuff. And you can also adjust the seat height as well, sitting height, so you're sitting correctly and you're not going to get bad knees like I did previously riding a bike at the wrong height. So you get everything you need in a box to get started as well. So your bike, the charger, the keys, Allen keys, manuals to read through as well. So everything's nice and easy for you to set up at home. So moving on to the application itself. So I've got it loaded on my iPhone here. So it's also available on iOS as well, but I find that it works seamlessly on my iPhone more than it did on my Android, especially during setup as well. But I think they've updated it, so there's no problem there at all now. So you can use it on either devices depending on what you prefer to use. One thing that they've introduced now is manual unlock as well. So before I was worried that I have to unlock the bike using my phone. So if the phone's dead, I won't be able to unlock it. But actually they've introduced manual lock and unlock now as well. So what you can now do, manual unlock. So what you can now do is turn the key on the battery, remove it, and then push it back in, lock it back into place, and you notice that you're there. So then that's your way to manually unlock the bike itself. One thing to bear in mind is this locking and unlocking system doesn't mean that the bike still can't function. You can still ride the bike away even when it's unlocked, or locked, So what this really means is the motor itself wouldn't work when it's locked. So the electric functionality wouldn't function at all in terms of pedal assist. It won't work when you've got it locked. So if someone was to steal it, they've just got a dud bike to use. Okay, so opening up the application, it's very minimalist. Again, very easy to use. It's probably one of the best apps I've seen that accompanies e-bike itself. And it's very easy to use, very straightforward. The first thing you notice on the front is it greets you. So once you've done the registration and all that stuff, it says, "Hello, Tommy," which is me. And then you get your temperature. So at the moment, the weather forecast, the weather situation is on the top right corner of the screen. And then on the left top corner, you see your Cowboybike logo, which we'll get into in a second. Towards the middle, like I said, you get your map. It shows you the location of your bike and the lock situation. So it shows you that it's currently locked at the moment, if it's locked. And then you've got your search and an actual pinpoint location to pinpoint where you currently are. In case it's slightly off, you can use that. With the search, you can search where you want to go using a postcode. I believe this is something that you couldn't do before, but I was able to search for postcode and it was able to take me to where I need to get to. Towards the bottom of that location where you are, you would notice the lock icon. So if you press and hold that, you can use that to unlock the bike itself. And as soon as you unlock it, the lights will pop on the bike to let you know that it's ready to be ridden. Another thing you can also do is you don't have to actually press that manually as well. If you don't want to, you can just move towards a bike with your phone in your pocket or in your hands, and the bike would unlock itself knowing that you're actually near the bike using the proximity sensor and GPS and all that stuff. So once you've unlocked it, you then see some other information that gets unlocked as well to you. So you have range left on the bike. So at the moment I've got 22% and it tells me 10 miles of range left on the battery. It shows you where the speed is in miles per hour. So once you start riding, it tells you what speed you're traveling at. And then you got your power as well. So with this, you can actually turn the power on or off if you wish to do so. Maybe you want to save battery when you've got less battery left. You can just power it off to pedal on the flat road, so you don't have to use the power to to pedal those areas. You know, got the lights as well, so you can toggle that on and off with that. Again, saving battery. I don't know how much battery you actually save by turning the lights off, but I would suggest that you leave the light on all the time just for visibility so that other road users can see you at all times. Clicking on the Cowboybike logo on the top left corner, again, it tells you distance traveled, it tells you how much CO2 you've actually saved by riding your bike and not driving or catching a bus or taking a taxi, etc. And then you can go into My Bike. In the My Bike, again, gives you your battery level and in range in terms of percentage as well. It tells you where it's last seen. You can then use the Find My Bike option, which uses GPS and Bluetooth, so you can locate your bike. You then got auto lock option, which you can set on and off. You can set how long it takes to auto lock. So at the moment, I've got it to 5 minutes, but you can set it all the way to 2 minutes or 30 minutes if you wish to do so, or never. But I'd suggest putting that on. You got theft alert. So as soon as someone's trying to steal your bike, moving it and stuff, once you've locked it, it can send an alert to your phone to let you know that that's happening, so you can then go and maybe confront them or use the police in this situation, so be careful. And you got crash detection, which is amazing. In fact, when they told me about this, I was a bit like, how does that work? How am I meant to test this out? But fun enough, whilst I was out filming with Tom, who's the camera guy filming some of these bits, some of the B-rolls for me, with me here, I fell over by accident, and alerts got sent to my allocated emergency contact saying I've been in a bike accident. It sends them my location, and which is pretty neat, so they can call me, and then my partner ended up phoning me to make sure that was okay. This works by when it crashes, when it detects the crash detection there, what happens is then you get I think like 60 seconds or so to get up, pick up your phone and say that you're okay. If you don't do that, then your emergency contacts gets notified that you have been in a bike accident, so they can help you or call an ambulance or something if you're by yourself. You've got LED brightness, so you can change the brightness level, so from bright to dim. I always have it on bright, and you can nickname your bike as well. So mine's obviously GadgetsBoy. And total distance so far is on their activation date firmware version, so you might need this kind of information if you're ringing up Cowboy for maintenance or any other reasons. What you've also got in that icon menu is your trips history, which I quite like. So I can look at my last month trip. I can see how far I've traveled, my average speed, how many trips I've taken on the bike, and previous locations as well, which is pretty neat. It means over time I can keep track of how much I've been doing, even for fitness purposes. I can do that as well. I think overall Cowboy have done a really good job with the Cowboybike 3 in terms of how quiet the ride is. In fact, when you're on a really nice smooth tarmac, what you can actually hear is just a road noise. But apart from that, you don't get that electric motor sound that you get. The design is fantastic. I think it looks brilliant. It looks the part, and also a lot of security feature, safety feature in terms of anti-theft. You got things like crash detection. Those two things alone are very important to me when riding a bike, and it also lets you be aware of how much you're actually doing in terms of saving some of those carbon footprint and the environment. Saving the environment, it lets you know that as well. The application as well is very easy to use, very minimalist. I love the application itself. I also think it has enough power for everyday use as well. It's more than enough for me personally, and the range on it as well is very good. I think, again, more than enough for my short commute here and there around London. It's perfect for that. Ride comfort is actually really good as well. I think if you have any issues with ride comfort, you can just let some air out the tire a little bit, and you can adjust it to suit your preference. One thing I will say as well is make sure you invest in a really good lock. Again, bike lock. Again, I've included that in the description area if you want to check out the bike lock that I use. It's called Light Lock. It's really good, very secure, hard to break. Don't actually think it's actually possible, and you can also create bike chains as well. If you buy more than one and you and your partner wants to ride your bikes together, you can create longer bike lock and lock more bikes in one go as well. Other than that, I think that's it for me with the Cowboybike 3. Guys, let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. If you have anything to say, drop them there. Any questions, drop them there as well. But I'll leave all relevant links in the description area so you guys can do your research and find out more about it. In the meantime, if this is your first time on the channel, please do subscribe and share this video as well. It might help someone out there. And hit that bell notification as well, so every time I upload a new video on my channel, you get to know firsthand. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.